Hello, everyone, and welcome to a special episode of Metaverse Express Full Stop, where we hit the brakes to discuss hot topics in the metaverse. Joining me today are four very special guests in a very special episode. Look at them go. I have never done this before. First of all, I've never had four guests on the show, and we've never done it this way, but we're going to tell you what's happening here. But first, let me tell you that I consider all of these four special guests experts in the areas of digital fashion, wearables, and of course, the metaverse. That's where they are. We have Tang. That's right, her right there in pink. She's the creator of Decentraland Babydolls and the Dollhouse. And if you didn't know, she is the official supermodel of the Metaverse Fashion Week this year. Tang, welcome. I see you dancing in there.
Hi, nice to be here. Thanks so much for the invitation.
Of course. We also have Xeta with us tonight. He's the owner of the Rare Wearables Museum and an avid collector, of course. He's going to take us through his museum in just a moment here. Xeta, welcome. I should say thank you for bringing us into your world.
Oh, well, thank you for having us. Pleasure to be on the show.
The pleasure is mine. And of course, the talented 3D digital artist and the OG wearable creator, Kirzoz, is here with us tonight as well. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for the opportunity. It's an honor to be here.
Of course. And last but not least, guys, Murph is back from last week. He's the director of events at Decentral Games. Happy to have you back tonight, Murph. I know you just couldn't get enough of me and the audience.
Thank you, Mona. It's awesome to be back. Look forward to discussing wearables.
Yes, it's going to be an awesome topic tonight. Ladies, gentlemen, I have to say, I am so excited about tonight's show. Thank you, all of you, for being here. And we were actually not anticipating for this interview. I don't like to call it interview. It's a conversation that we're going to have. I was not anticipating for this to happen in Decentraland. So this is something we've never done. These guys are taking us right into the metaverse and showing us around. And I have to say, I've been wanting to talk about wearables for a very long time on the show. And I'm just really honored to finally be able to bring together the best of the best that our industry has to offer. And together, we're going to explore the history and future of wearables, as well as the impact blockchain technology, NFTs, and digital ownership. But before we delve into this fascinating world that you guys are going to take us into, I want to give each of you the opportunity to take a minute to introduce yourselves and tell us and the viewers about yourself and the incredible work and development that you've done and are doing in this space. So Tang, you are shaking it there, girl. Why don't I start with you, since you are ready to go? Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Thank you. Like you said at the beginning, I'm the leader of the DCL Babydolls, and I'm the owner of a very popular virtual nightclub called Dollhouse. I've been in the space for about a year and a half, and I've gone from kind of being on my own and just kind of exploring to being, I guess, what you might call a community leader. I love bringing the people together, having a great time with them. I am really honored even today to be in the same interview with legends such as Kirzoz, Murphjestic, and Xeta. These guys are the real deal. They're the OGs. I'm just new compared to them. So I'm excited about this interview.
Oh, I am just as excited. You know, it's crazy I've been inside Decentraland many times covering the Decentraland Fashion Week time and time again. And to just have you guys here, the people, as you said, the legends who are behind of it all. This is an exciting night, not just for me, but the viewers as well. Xeta, this is your world. Tell us a little bit about yourself and the world that you've created here.
Well, my name is Xeta. I've been collecting digital items since the early 2000s, and as soon as NFTs were a thing, they were interesting to me, and I came to Decentraland because I thought it was fun, the concept of owning virtual land that you could do anything with, and whatever you imagine. And it's fun seeing the evolution of it over the last few years that I've been a part of it, where I came in 2020, and then have been collecting since then. So I have a lot of very old wearables from before the user submitted wearables, which are the layer ones. And I don't know, it's been fun seeing the space evolve and, all the new people that have come over the years and where it's kind of gone since I first came to the space. It's,
I can
come a
only
long ways.
imagine. Of course, yeah. I can only imagine. And I'm actually we're going to start the questions with you. And I want to
Sure.
have you walk us through the evolution of digital wearables. And that's what this show is about tonight. But we have one more person. We can't forget Murph. He is here as well. Murph, can we just acknowledge this jacket situation? This is just too cool. Murph has a digital wearable and a physical wearable that we're also going to talk about. That's a topic of one of the questions, but go ahead, Murph, tell us a little bit about yourself as well.
Hey, go by Murph or Murphjestic in Decentraland in the Web3 space. I've been hanging out in Decentraland since January 2020. Started working in Decentraland with Decentral Games. I've thrown hundreds of events over the last few years. And just been collecting wearables and making friends with people like you see today. It's been an amazing journey, and I'm stoked to see where it goes.
Well, thank you. Yeah, of course. Thank you for coming back and bringing all your friends with you. These are some fine, talented friends you have. Go ahead, Kirzoz, please introduce yourself and tell us a little about the amazing things that you're doing in this space as well.
Well, hello. I joined Decentraland maybe 2-3 years ago. A big advocate for fashion and digital assets, along with wearables and animations that all come from Blender. So I love 3D art. I'm a big 3D artist. Been trying to discover a lot more scene work versus wearables, but basically anything 3D is a huge passion of mine, and I'm really thankful to be here. So thank you, Mona, for everything.
Of course, and we're happy, very, very happy to have you. So we themed tonight's show around the evolution of digital wearables. So I want us to take the viewers, first and foremost, before we start any other questions, I want us to take the viewers back to where it all started first. Because as you know, even in the past couple of years, digital wearables have come a very long way. I remember I was first introduced to them in gaming, and now they have found their way onto runways and even into our daily lives. So Xeta, this is your baby right here. I want to bring it to you. As the owner of Rare Wearables Museum, I'm sure you've witnessed the evolution of wearables. Can you talk to us about how they have evolved over time? And if you want to even take us upstairs, I think it's upstairs. I've been up there once, and kind of walk us through it from the maybe early days to now. And then tell us some of the key milestones that you have also witnessed in this space since. So I'm going to let you take it away.
Sounds great. So again, we're in the museum district here, which is a really cool area that has, it's one of the oldest districts in Decentraland that actually has published content. This is actually, the gallery behind me is one of the first NFTs that I got. That was like a major NFT. I spent like a 5-figure number of US dollars on it at the time, and now it's like a 2x3 estate. And I've done so many different art shows and other things over the years here. But another collector friend of mine named Morph and I decided that it'd be fun to put up a museum that would showcase some of the earliest wearables in the metaverse, where some of these date back to 2019, which is pretty old. And in relative to now, I guess, and it's interesting seeing where they started on Ethereum and how, the original beta essentially of Decentraland had some Christmas wearables from way back in the day, and the glasses that I'm wearing are like a 1 of 5 glasses from 2019 that like the 2 other founders of Decentraland have 2 of the other 5 pairs essentially. That I managed to pick them up for a couple ETH, in 2021, which was a lucky pickup, and why I wear them all the time. And it's kind of fun having some old stuff like that. but we could go upstairs actually, and I
Yeah,
can start
take us
showing you
upstairs.
some places. And the museum's actually a Wonderbot head, which is from the Wonder Zone. That's like a mythic robot from back then.
Xeta,
Well,
did Wearables, when you said 2019, as you're taking us up there, did Wearables start in gaming initially back then?
So I would say that wearables have been a thing as long as there's been collectibles in games. I would argue like RuneScape was one of the first games from 2001 that had things like the party hats and whatnot. Like I'm wearing a party hat now, but I have a full set of like the RuneScape party hats from back in the day. And it's funny because they were, dropped on the ground in one day in 2001, and every single one that is still in the game to this day, over 2 decades later, is from that single day. And that's like the kind of the ultimate end goal, item that people seek out and getting in that game. It's like the biggest, purchase that you can make. And I think that was kind of like one of the first, I guess, examples of almost like an NFT, or even like the concept of a rare wearable. And so, coming from that background, I had friends on there that told me about Decentraland, and it was fun to have a concept of actually owning a part of the space and getting to do whatever you wanted with it for other people to see. So, some of these things in here were like the Christmas, if you go behind you, Murph, is some of the first things that happened in Decentraland. This is like the beta in 2019 that, the people that were participants in it were able to get some of these special wearables that like the Decentraland Foundation made. And, they had a Christmas beta that only certain developers got to be a part of. And, people that completed some tasks and whatnot in it were able to get some very rare things, such as these LED Christmas light suits, or like the cyber suits, and the jacket that's like a 1 of 4 jacket in the middle here. That's kind of the cyberpunk jacket. And so, these are kind of the first things where, they're not the fanciest, but, CryptoPunks were the first 10K collection and they're pixelated pictures, but these are kind of, from the beta. And, it's interesting to see how then other companies, I guess, had options to be able to make things where they essentially had the foundation make the original wearables, where they hired some 3D artists that ultimately became other creators in the space, such as the Wonderbots with the Wonder Zone. Chestnut Brews actually made a lot of these 3D files of the public launch. They had a huge treasure hunt at the public launch that people were able to get this like barbarian outfit, the razor blade outfit, as well as a few other mythic things like the skeleton, Frankenstein, the jester, where there's like the first Decentraland opening up, where people were exploring and getting encouraged to run around and like find treasure chests of NFTs and things, and they got maybe one item, and it was really rare for someone to like buy all the pieces and have a full set of any of these things, where over time there's a few collectors that have full sets of this, where there's a guy named Laser Viking that actually has that full Viking set. I think he's the only person that has that full Viking set, and it's kind of cool because it's a 1 of 10 mythic that was pretty much impossible to get otherwise. And then afterwards, certain artists or companies were given chances to, through community contests, to get to make stuff where, everyone submitted a bunch of ideas and things, and, the best ones were voted on and got to be made into wearables, where, Cyber Mike, Marco Matic, Sugar Club, Polygonal Mind, dappcraft, Wonder Zone. Some of these companies were the first ones to get to make things, and these were all on Ethereum and layer 1. And which costs a lot of money, and costs like $80 to mint these in 2021, just to like mint it, let alone the price of the mana or other things like that, even if it's a free claim. And it's cool because 20% of these actually went to the Decentraland Foundation for giveaways and other things in the future, as like part of their why they got to make these things. And even the Headspace wearables that Murph is wearing, it's like this, it was really cool. He was able to redeem buy a physical sweatshirt that came with the virtual version of it, as like a promotion of testing the concept of having the virtual fashion as well as the physical real life merch. And that's like his hoodie is actually the first case of it, where like the Bored Ape Yacht Club has hoodies in Decentraland as well as the physical hoodies. That's exactly the same, but like Murph's got the OG hoodie right now, and it's like a 1 of 100 very rare hoodie. And It's pretty cool that he has that. I'm kind of a little envious, actually. He has the real hoodie because I don't, but I have the virtual one.
Absolutely. And we're
Uh,
going to talk about that too during the last Metaverse Fashion Week. That was one of the key things that stood out to me the most, bringing commerce into these environments and allowing for people to be able to purchase the physical version as well. And we're going to talk about that. But going back into these two digital wearables and the environments, what are some of the milestones that you've seen throughout, let's say, since 2019?
So I would say that since 2019, that probably the biggest milestone was when the layer 2 wearables came out, honestly, because there's, the original 70,000 layer 1s, and that was very limited because it was like, a lot of people were wanting to make things, but it was just a kind of a clunky process with doing it layer 1. And a lot of people had to wait for the user wearables to come out, which is really changed things up. And the first layer 2 wearables actually came out during the Pride Parade in 2021, where they were airdropped to participants or just anybody that had a name in Decentraland, I think, actually got a layer 2. And it's like the first time they were testing it, and they minted like 100,000 different wearables just to test it. And it was cool because the gas is very low. It's all on Polygon Matic, which is way cheaper to mint things than on Ethereum. The foundation was actually able to mint and issue 100,000 wearables like in one. They just ran it on Polygon. That would have cost a fortune to do it on Ethereum. And then that led to other companies like even Bored Ape Yacht Club. They airdropped 5,000 hoodies or whatever to all of the holders of the apes at the time that had an ape in their wallet. And it really opened the door for promotional things. It opened the door for creators to come to the space and fit within certain guidelines, and have the wearables review committee see like, yes, this works, this isn't game breaking, this isn't violating IP, making sure that if such and such company is coming to the space, that it's actually representatives of said company doing something, not letting people make fake things where that gets taken care of pretty quickly. For any IP infringement, the community is pretty on top of that and will call people out and really grill them, which is nice to see because it's a the DAO governed way of that happening. But it allows for anybody to come and make things. And at first it was 500 mana to submit things, which got to be very expensive. And that cost lots of money for people to do. And then it got switched to like 100 mana, and then it was like set to like a certain amount of money worth of mana. I don't know where it lands currently, but it's always changing with the DAO. And that ability to make other things brought so many more people to the space. Whereas like when I first came, there wasn't so many people that had wearables in the first place. Most people had basic avatars, unless they were, lucky to have gotten something from a claim or something, or they only had like 1 or 2 items. But then once people were able to be minting things for free, that opened the door of like a lot more free claims of like, go and participate here and get the thing. Because otherwise it was like you had to go earn them at the Wonder Zone, or you got to earn them from, get them from places like DG to go, back when the poker was, playing the poker with the original wearables before the layer 2 wearables that they have. And it was, I don't know, it's just like a lot rarer to see people with like crazy outfits of things where I
now it
see
is
it as often. Everyone has a cool outfit now.
Yeah, absolutely. And speaking of claiming, I want to bring this to Kirzoz. And by the way, Xeta, you can take us wherever you like to take us. We're just going to go on a journey with you as we all chat. But Kirzoz, you've been involved in some really innovative and creative projects in the metaverse. You were behind the Taco Bell Metaverse wedding, which is one of my favorites, but also my 2 very favorite activations during Decentraland Fashion Week, which were the Clinique skin matching and Estee Lauder advanced hair serum. I did collect my serum and it gave me a glow, but that's just to name a few. But through these innovations, you're really bridging the gap between emerging creators and traditional fashion designers and brands by leveraging digital technologies. Can you talk to us about your creative processes in this area and how you think it's impacting the future of traditional fashion and design, if you will?
Yeah, of course. I'm really thankful that you were able to see so many of these scenes within Decentraland, especially the Estee Lauder. I'm glad you have that nighttime repair serum glow. Yeah,
super cool. Yeah, it was my favorite.
I do come from a very small background in Los Angeles with a little bit of fashion, in real life fashion orientation. So I did study a little bit of, fashion here and there, doing digital artworks, doing stylings and shoots. But when it comes to Web3, Metaverse, digital asset creation, I actually use a program called Blender, and it's completely free. And basically, I love 3D. I think I fell in love with 3D when I was more into interior design, just due to the 3D software AutoCAD. And then I learned that there's this free thing called Blender, and that you can literally sculpt and create almost anything you put your mind to. And in these metaverses within Web3, you can truly like optimize and harness in on becoming an independent artist and selling your creations through these virtual realities marketplace, and also giving it away for free and like having like fun and making a virtual world that you get to explore with your friends. I come from a very gaming background, so I was born in Minecraft, I'd like to say. And when I started playing Decentraland, it kind of reminded me of Minecraft in a way where it's just another virtual reality that you escape to, and you get to have your friends and you get to do and be and say whatever your heart desires, right? So when it comes to actually making a living and kind of bridging the gap from in real life to these virtual worlds, it's so much fun if you truly have the passion for it, because it's also free. You can use so many softwares. There's so many people within the community that are willing to support, and just kind of, it's up to you. And so that's where I fell in love with this community and with this ecosystem, is creating things from nothing in Blender that costed me nothing to a world where I can truly experience it and bring it to life. I think it's more valuable than I'm expressing right now, but ultimately I think anyone could do this. And it's up to you though. I recommend Blender. Everyone starts with this YouTube tutorial, the donut in Blender. It's really funny. But yeah, that's where we all start. I think even Tangpoko and everyone, even Murph or Xeta, everyone knows a little bit of Blender. It's a free application that is used for over 99% of these, these activations within these metaverses. So it's honestly just do it. If you have the passion, just go ahead and start.
Absolutely. It is a blank canvas for all. I didn't know if is Xeta or Murph driving this ship, but you guys feel free to take us to different places if you like. But Murph, you're the driver. Take us to places.
Murph is going to take us to the casino. I don't want to go to the casino.
Of course he is. He's going to make us go play poker.
All the time.
But speaking of individuality and oh, beautiful. Wait, go back. Yeah, this is in the museum still.
Those are
right?
one of 10. He actually made those shoes and he has them, and they're like from the original the launch of Decentraland. There was 10 FIWO shoes like in the launch of Decentraland that you could get, and the last time one sold it was like 8 ETH, I think. They're pretty rare boots to see.
That is so cool. That brings me to Tang. I'm going to come to you because we're looking at shoes, and I want to have you take us on the runway for just a moment here. We know that our physical and traditional runways are inspired by individuality and creativity. But more, oh, wow, look at that. That is just beautiful. But more importantly, our physical runways are inspired by culture and even world and social issues. Looking at these rares, do you see this also the case on digital runways? Can you talk to us about how these influences are shaping, or are they shaping the design and function of the wearable technology, as Murph shows us these beautiful items here?
I think that digital wearables are especially important in virtual worlds because it is not just about fashion. It's really your entire identity. This is how you express yourself to others. And we don't, in the real world, fashion is how you express yourself to others, but there's so many other signifiers you can use. In a place like this, what we're wearing, the NFT assets that we own are really, that's the building blocks of our digital identity. So whether it's fashion designers like Fuocious, or whether it's wearing traditional clothing, like maybe when we did that Taco Bell wedding, we had an Indian sari and turbans and stuff. So whether it's traditional inputs or whether it's something like the outfit that I'm wearing, which is the pink baby doll outfit, and this is an outfit that I wear with all the other baby dolls, and it just kind of signifies that we're a group together, and that we stand for a certain bit of aligned values. All of these things are really important for digital wearables inside the metaverse.
Yeah, absolutely. And Murph, as you're taking us around and based on, what Tang was talking about, and I mentioned it earlier, one of the most interesting features at the last Metaverse Fashion Week for me was the introduction of commerce and the unique ability to purchase these physical of the digital item or the wearable, like your jacket right there. That's it. That's what I'm talking about. Yeah, talk to us a little bit about that. I feel like this is so unique and it's so interesting. And I think we need to have this. And that's what's going to get people to come in. I remember last year, it was Tommy Hilfiger was one of the brands who had certain jackets that you could buy the digital and then the physical and order the physical and it'll be shipped to your house. Talk to us about this hybrid approach to fashion and wearables and commerce and its overall impact, especially during events. Can you shed some light on that?
Yeah, absolutely. So, I really love this trend of being able to, own the digital version as well as the physical version. Being able to have your identity in Decentraland and express yourself, kind of like Tang was saying earlier, and then being able to wear that I can wear it to the store as well. So it's like, and actually it's really fun for like conferences and things like that. It's for events. I think it's definitely an incentive. I mean, if we're providing the NFT jacket or we're offering to sale of the shoes that in real life versus the NFTs, I think it definitely draws more people. They're more, you're going to get more interest. I think owning the physical piece and then having the digital asset, it's cool because there's things you can do with the physical that you can't do with the NFT, like wear it around, wash it, etc. But then you can have the NFT where my hoodie may give me access to the VIP room at, a virtual concert, or may give me access to a special gaming room or whatever the case is. So it kind of brings your clothing and your items to like the next level. So now not only are they providing you a cool look and make you feel good about yourself, it's actually giving you access or some perk or experience that you wouldn't have before.
Yeah, absolutely. Kirzoz, do you think there's benefits or challenges with this concept for creators and designers?
Absolutely. That's actually a really good point to bring up because with within these ecosystems or metaverses, we say there's limitations. Mm-hmm. So Decentraland, for example, this is a low poly world. So if we're talking about a luxurious Versace fur coat, there's no way you're going to be able to replicate a high tri or high data wearable in this reality. It's very low tri. You have to look at the wearable committee, which have very strict guidelines with like 1,500 tries or 2 materials and 2 textures per wearable. But what's incredible is when you truly optimize these wearables and these designs to fit into the world, like this jacket, this hoodie, for example, I think it's kind of spot on. It's not as round or as hyper realistic as it could be, yes, but ultimately for the aesthetic of this entire world, you don't want to see a hyper realistic wearable. I think this all kind of matches the cartoony vibe. But again, back to your question, there's a lot of limitations and difficulties, but it kind of shows how talented some of the creators in the space are to fit these hyper realistic wearables within the community.
Actually, Murph, if you go back to that page, because Tang, I want to ask you, how do you see designers when we're talking about brands? And I remember last Metaverse Fashion Week, and correct me if I'm wrong, we had Gucci there, right? There were some big brand names that we had in there. How are they approaching this concept, and what's their vision, long-term vision, when it comes to creating these wearables for their brand, to extend their brand in these environments?
I think in terms of Decentraland, they're just really starting to dip their toes in the last couple of years, which is fantastic. I think that, for instance, you can see in the scene that I'm wearing right now as a Dolce and
Beautiful.
Gabbana.
Yes.
So,
Yeah. I remember going to that store. Look at you.
absolutely. So this is a linked wearable. So that means that people who bought their NFT were going to get this airdrop to them in the metaverse. So I think that those kind of activations, or those kind of utilities for the NFTs, is really an exciting area for fashion brands to get into. I liked and wanted to expand on something that Kirzoz was saying a minute ago, which is that yes, Decentraland is a low poly world. So a lot of these fashion design houses that have really extravagant clothes, I think they might feel a bit resistant at first to come in and have to conform their designs to something that's a little more low poly. But what you end up seeing is really strong, talented designers find the essence of their design and still make a Dolce & Gabbana wearable in that low poly way, and it's still their signature style. So I think you see some really strong brands coming out, brands that just come out with a t-shirt and put their logo on it. Okay, it's nice to see them in the space, but I think this is an area of innovation and opportunity for them. And the low poly aspect is a challenge, I think.
Yeah, of course. And speaking of innovation, I want to throw this at all of you. What makes an innovative and exciting wearable, in your opinion? What are people looking for?
Can I go first? Just from a technical standpoint, as a 3D artist to another 3D artist, I love it when an artist makes a high poly version that they then bake out to a low poly version. There's a lot of strategy and there's a lot of technique, and it speaks for their skill level when you are doing this in a low poly world, that you can make something that's millions, billions of tries with wrinkles and shadows and details that you then bake out and retopologize into something that is more optimized and interoperable for any low poly world. I think it's an incredible talent and passion if you're doing this. That's what I look for, is when you can truly see some magnificent strategy and techniques behind some of these designs. That's what I look for.
You're such a master at that yourself. So, respect to you for bringing that skill set. I would say innovation for me, just to build on that, is a project that Kirzoz and Murphjestic and I are working on together, which is a fashion collab for Decentral Games, using Kirzoz's skill of baking the light and the textures into the wearable. She made a couple of beautiful gowns, and the further innovation is that Decentral Games is going to put shine on it, which is something for their sit and go tournaments. Actually, Murph, I'll let you take it away from here, but that to me is adding utility to already some incredible fashion. That's innovation to me.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's a great segue. I think the utility side of it, and what Kirzoz was saying, there's seeing what some of these designers are doing with the textures, where it looks like it's super high def and it's crazy and it's amazing, and then being able to take that and it gives you access or allows you to, perform some type of thing or play some game or earn crypto or whatever the case is. For me, I love the utility aspects of it. And even the FIGITAL is kind of a utility aspect because I have the physical piece.
Mm-hmm.
But then when you get something like Kirzoz, man, I'm so excited for this pieces to come out for Fashion Week because she absolutely killed it. And being able to kind of have that look and style, and it gives you access to, go to these poker lounges with your friends and play cards in this like amazing outfit. And that's what this stuff's about.
Xeta, let's hear from you. Come closer. Let people see this thing. Oh my gosh. Did Kirzoz do this or did you?
Heck no, this is so rare. He's wearing some of the most rare wearables ever. The only thing I created here is the butterflies, which is nothing in comparison to some of the legacy and notoriety that some of these NFTs hold.
Yeah, so this is the Wonder Bot that Chestnut Brews made for the Wonder Zone, and it's like a 1 of 10 wearable that, there's only 10 of them that will ever exist, and it's kind of like one of the old like OG kind of things. Same with the sparkles. This Coca-Cola shirt is a layer 2, but it's like a 1 of 10 red Coca-Cola shirt. That was one of their NFTs when they came to Decentraland. I have a whole bunch of other fun things that I've collected over, gosh, it's been a while, but I have over like 400 different wearables, I guess. So I have a few
Oh
different
my
options
gosh.
uh, of different things. But these are some of my favorites, I guess. And I like the utility aspect too.
Yeah.
It's like fun to, for instance, like I have a few things that I've made that, you can have like club access or something like that, or like having VIP in a club, because like these glasses that I'm wearing right now, it's like VIP access to the Sugar Club. And that's like one of the most like OG old clubs that, it started out as a poster and a concept. Now it's a whole club in the metaverse with a fashion line. And it's like really fun to see people do it big and, have some kind of concept and idea, and then the support of the community, and, make these places that were what they dreamed of. And it's a lot less daunting to come to a virtual world to do it than starting up like a real gallery or club or fashion brand, or, whatever it is. Here's another rare outfit from NASA. Actually, it's an Apollo 11
Look at
full
that.
space suit. This is one of the more detailed, fun things that there's only 100 of these, and it's actually NASA came to Decentraland and did their anniversary of the moon landing, and this was part of that. And it's
Beautiful.
Yeah,
fun to
Nick
see
Graham helped
companies.
design that.
Yeah, Nick
The
Graham and
details.
Banquet Labs, and
Yep.
dappcraft. Yeah.
Very, very cool. Zeta, how do you think we can preserve these for our next generations? I remember when we were all in humanities class, and in the textbook, the very first, wardrobe on the fashion runway, we all learned about it. But looking 10 years from now, how do you think we're going to preserve this technology for our future generation?
Well, the cool thing about these wearables is that they're Unity based, and it's a very universal skeleton. So like you can take these avatars, if you have their GLBs, and you could put them into other virtual spaces, which is very cool. So, there's the talks of cross-platform utility, where I think that Decentraland will always have a place, considering I don't think another CEO of a company will make a space like this and then walk away and let it be run by a DAO ever again. And if so, they're not going to be anywhere near as far along as Decentraland is after the time that it's taken to get this far. That being said, I could see, there's several people that have been porting them into these other virtual worlds, and it's really cool to see all of the ideas that people have come up with, or taking them into VR chat, or doing it where they're streaming with it as an AR filter. And it's like, those are the Decentraland wearables, where one guy has the robot head that I was wearing earlier as an actual, like his chat for when he's like streaming and whatnot. So I think that a lot of these things will end up down the road, they could be representing people in the future still, and wherever virtual worlds are relevant. And that's kind of cool. And so
Yeah.
making your own representation of how you want to represent yourself, and then being able to be consistent with that across multiple virtual spaces is also somewhat new, where you can look the same in 5 different virtual worlds.
Yeah, absolutely. And I do want to ask about interoperability of these wearables into other metaverses or platforms. Whoever wants to take on that, how is that working now? And what are the challenges that we still have to mitigate?
Well, that's the interesting thing, because, for instance, the way that Decentraland works is it reads a smart contract where these wearables are, and then that attaches to, GLBs that are on some servers, where it's like, oh, this wallet has this token, which is this wearable, and it references and shows that you own it. However, in other virtual spaces, that doesn't really work, because it's a different contract. It's not going to pull it. Each space would have its own thing. There is a Curry shoe that came out, basically, that they had to mint it to 3 different ways, where it was like Gala had it, Sandbox had it, and then Decentraland had it. But it was like you bought the one shoe NFT, but then you got the 3 different virtual shoes for each of the respective ecosystems. And so then it like, the only problem with that is like, you could split it up in theory after the fact, versus like you would get the original shoe, but there's no way to like make sure that someone keeps that or gives the entire utility to another person. Like, you don't have to sell all 4 of those shoes, because you have the original one and the 3 airdropped ones. You could do whatever you want with all of them. And so that's kind of an interesting thing, because then as of now, you have to manually take these GLBs and port them into other worlds that you want to do that with. There's no way that there's some things like dappcraft. I know they're making versions of their wearables in Sandbox, but I don't know if they're going to like airdrop to the existing Decentraland wearable holders those items, or if it's going to be like a different item that they have on sale, but it's like the same style of item. However, the art is different because it's voxelated instead of the 3D file that we have in Decentraland. So it's
Of course.
again, interesting seeing how they have to transition between different mediums.
Absolutely. And we still early in that stage. Look, I just want to, Tang, you even got the moves right, girl. Those moves are just on point with the outfit and everything. I do want to talk about blockchain technology here as well, because it has had a significant impact, on the advancement of wearables and NFTs, of course, to date. And without it, we really wouldn't have seen the level of innovation that we have today. How do you guys see Web3 and blockchain shaping and impacting wearables now and in the future?
Again, to come back to FIGITAL, I mean, I just think that everything that we buy, every asset that we buy in the real world should have a digital world equivalent, some kind of fantasy version of this for wearing in the metaverse or really in any virtual world. I just think this is a natural order of things. So I see blockchain technology being applied that way.
Murph, what are your thoughts on that?
I think blockchain allows everyone, you can own your digital assets now. So it's not just a skin in Fortnite or a skin in any of these games. It's a tangible, digital item that you can own and transfer, gift, sell, buy. You're not locked into one platform or one place anymore. At least we won't be.
Yeah, absolutely. And speaking of, digital ownership is the premise of Web3. How do you guys think that the rise of NFTs and digital ownership is going to shape the value and perception of these wearables?
I feel like I could talk on it a little bit. It adds value by giving rarity. So Decentraland, we use a lot of Polygon and L2 network wearables versus 2 years ago, everything was L1 Ethereum based, which was much higher gas. It was much more difficult to get those wearables even a part of the foundation because there was no wearable committee back then either. This is like, we're talking about rarity and a limit of supply along with secondary sales and revenue and kind of trade systems too. It's really fun to see some legendary versus mythics or commons develop within communities like this, because we can trade and we can look at Tang, like she could put on a very rare outfit and it's literally a showstopper. This is what's really fun, I think. And it's more than just a dollar value. I think it's the presence as well. Some of these things are very difficult to make 3D wise. It takes a lot of time, talent, skill, passion, and honestly, just execution. You have to do it. You can talk about it all you want, but physically doing it and making the GLB and getting it in world and getting it through the submission process, it's all a part of the process. And I think it's a beautiful thing to see rarities develop within the ecosystem, because it's cool to see some OGs wearing rare stuff, or like some of the new, it defines communities as well as friendships. It's really fun.
Absolutely. And thank you for that. Tang, is that a rare you're wearing right now?
It is rare. This is from a designer called Yaping Chen. She is from Beijing. She was one of the fashion designers of the recent Olympics that they held in Beijing. She's done a series of dresses called the 5 Elements dresses, and I believe this one is the fire element.
Oh,
do you like it?
Oh, it's so beautiful. How much? Xeta, what is on your head? Tell us what's on your head. That thing is just very complicated and fascinating.
It's a Neuralink haircut, and then it's wearing with the DC Nifty Blocksmith that's from dappcraft. They also made the other outfit that I was wearing, but it's pretty cool, fun outfit as well. Also old. There's only 100 of these essentially.
How do you even?
There's so many old things.
How do you get your hand on one of these? Please tell us. How do we? Where do we start?
Have to get it off of OpenSea, and I don't even know what they go for, if there's any listed. It's one of one of those old things that there's only 100 of them out there, and a lot of people like them and don't want to get rid of them. This is a fun one, the Marco-Matic shirt. Let's see how long it takes. There we go. Like, this is fun, like Marco-Matic out of Australia.
Oh,
this is a rare
beautiful.
thing. Yeah, he hand drew this. It's like so cool that he made this. And I don't know, it's just fun seeing all these different artists that have come to the space and made really fun things that are, otherwise impossible. And it's fun.
Absolutely. So inspiring, historic, so much culture, inspiration, creativity, tech, lots of tech. It's so fascinating. Tang, we're coming up to Metaverse Fashion Week at the end of where are we? At the end of March. Correct me if I'm wrong. Is this the third year coming up?
It's
second
the
year.
Mhm.
Okay. What direction are we going for this show? Can you tell us a little bit about what we're expecting for this show?
Sure. The curatorial theme is future heritage. So the idea is to kind of reach back to the traditions of yesterday. And again, celebrate the innovation that brings it into the future. So we've got traditional houses, like I don't know if I can say too much, but Dolce & Gabbana is going to be back again, and a few other surprises, and also focusing a lot on some of the new and emerging designers in digital fashion and the incredible talent that we have in the community as well. So it'll be mixing and matching some of these older legacy brands with emerging artists, and I think it's a really great theme, and it feels like Decentraland, where we have kind of these feelings of community and unity while we're still sort of racing towards into the future and the great unknown.
Absolutely. Kirzoz, should we expecting any activations from you?
My recent was just the Taco Bell. I have some talks for some custom sculptures that could potentially be around the venue of Metaverse Fashion Week, but that's just in collaboration with the foundation. It's not necessarily an activation or anything, just a fun little Easter egg. But definitely come join us, come see what it's all about. There's lots of things to be claimed. There's lots of sites to be seen. And there's always those little Easter eggs. You know how Decentraland is.
Yes.
There's always those little super secret things. It's always so fun.
We always love to go on a hunt. That's for sure. Xeta, speaking of sculpture, you are a big old sculpture right now with a banana on your back. Tell me what you got over there.
So this is actually from the Bored Ape Yacht Club, and I helped them create this. And it's the Jimmy the Robot mech. And he's the one that's on trial this year, but this is the robot from last year's treasure hunt that they had, where if you figured out the bonus, you were able to enter a code and basically get one of the 4 parts of this robot. And we had dappcraft actually help us make this, and they creative designed it and whatnot. So there's not very many of these out there, but it's like one of the original like Yuga Labs wearables that, not very many people know about, but it's kind of a fun thing from 2021 early on into the yacht club when they came with the riverboat casino that DG did. It was around then before it kind of blew out of proportions when Bored Apes were maybe 2 ETH when this came out, and now it's crazy where they're at.
Crazy.
But,
yeah.
I produced that event.
Outfit. Yeah, that was a fun event, and now the hats are there's like 100 Bored Ape captains hats, and those are like a couple ETH now. It's like really crazy that
of course,
fun to see that play out.
Yeah, and Murph, you were behind that event, right?
Yeah.
And love the hair, by the way. You could do that in real life as a FIGITAL too. I want to see it next conversation. We want to see that in the FIGITAL.
Actually, this hoodie I picked up on that first week they did the scavenger or the treasure hunt that Xeta mentioned earlier, and I probably got like 10 of these and a bunch of different just like cool little wearables, but never found any of those super rare ones.
Xeta just put everyone out of it. Xeta and Tang, guys, that's it. The award goes to no, just beautiful. But as we start to slowly close here, there's just so much to talk about with you guys, and I hope that this is the beginning of many conversations to come. I know people probably have a lot of questions, but I do want to ask you, what do you guys see as the next big step in the evolution of digital wearables? Where are we going? Where's the future going? I want everybody to answer this one.
Ooh, this is
AR?
Oh shoot, Murph, AR's already here. Come on.
No, I'm saying but you don't see it anywhere. You don't no one wears glasses around.
True.
So,
I think AR activation would be huge, especially with filters, social media, using these GLBs in a real world sense, but not physically being there. Fidgetals are really cool too with merch and all of that. But I think one of my favorite things is having these wearables being used in other worlds, truly interoperable. So I know everyone's using Hyperfi and Decentraland. If there was a collaboration between both worlds, I think that would be so interesting to see. I've never seen it happen before. Truly having something be interoperable versus an independent. So like, you know, if I have these GLBs and me as an independent decides to use my free time to go into Hyperfi and, you know, use a VRM and submit these wearables or whatever, get these wearables into another world, that's still me doing something. I want to limit that back. I want there to be a button where it's like Decentraland, jump into Hyperfi, and it's a portal even. That's
would be
what I'm truly looking for. I don't know how many years we have or how long that's going to take, or even if it's possible, but I think that's something that I really look forward to.
like portals, like just jump from
Right? Like a
into
portal.
spatial into hyper, and like it just your whole look just changes as you go through it.
Crazy.
Go on.
Murph, what do you think?
That's what I want to think.
Yeah.
The interoperability.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's huge. That's going to be I mean, once, you know, the tech catches up and there's more people just involved developing out all this stuff, I think it'll be a little bit more realistic.
Xeta.
You know, I think that more brands are going to continue coming to the space, and like once more major brands continue to do that, you know, I really think that things like Louis Vuitton, they're going to have it where you buy the bag at Louis Vuitton and they give you like the official like serial number, and you might get like the NFT version of it too, that you could like sell someone the bag with the actual NFT bag, and then they're going to have like an NFT is like the proof of authenticity, where like, you know, they're going to have like a serial number and like a whole thing with it, versus I could see it being used to make sure that they're not counterfeit for designer goods. I think that will be a really like real world application of NFT within fashion. I don't know. I think that that'll be a really big thing, as well as people having the physical as well as the digital version of it, or having you know, some designers that make specifically digital things that wouldn't be possible in the real world, and being really well known for that maybe, or you know, just certain artists that come in and do things like the Fuo boots are really cool, or just whoever makes things or who comes into the space, like the NASA stuff that Nick Graham helped with. Like if you're a fan of Nick Graham, like it's cool to get like a 1 of 100 or 1 of 10, one of his pieces or something like that. So I think it really just kind of comes down to whoever you personally enjoy as an artist, and supporting that artist and being able to kind of do so directly, which is a really beautiful thing, where like otherwise a lot of these people come in and get like a big fashion brand and they're designing for them, and they're not really seeing the fruits of their labors, I guess, as much as the company that they're working for is. So it's kind of cool to have people have an opportunity to directly be distributing things to their community without having to worry about like a physical manufacturing production line or physically making things. Whereas, you know, Kirzoz could make 100,000 of something and not have to worry about like getting that made and shipped and all that stuff. It's like, oh, here they all are. It's really it's sustainable, versus like the real world fashion is very like not environmentally sustainable. You see all these horrible videos of like piles of shirts in landfills and like wherever in the world, of, you know, the losing Super Bowl team and like all these things that were made and like nobody's gonna wear. And you know, I think we have enough garbage in the world, so it's cool to see.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, very sustainable. And I think that people really represent themselves, where, you know, you can wear a real outfit and you can only flex on so many people in real life, but you know, it's like Twitter having a fancy Twitter picture. It's like more people will see that than you will see an art in your house on the wall or something, you know. So it's kind of an interesting way to virtually represent yourself as well.
Yeah. And Tang.
I think that I really see great innovation and opportunity for the creator in the coming years. Being able to create your own brand using software like free software like Blender, being able to be accessible, so accessible, and reach out to communities. You no longer have to work at some high fashion atelier to reach these levels of fame and popularity and wealth and success as well. That kind of opportunity is available for everybody right now because of Web3, because of blockchain, and because of digital wearables like Xeta was talking about. It's just so much more accessible for people. So I think you're going to just see a rise of incredible creator talent that maybe it never would have had that opportunity if it wasn't for where we are at now.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And it goes without saying that you guys are all making history. I hope you know that, because you are innovators, you're early adopters, and you're setting the stage for a lot of artists, builders, and creators to follow your footsteps. So I hope you know that you're all going to be in the Gen Z humanities textbook, which will be digital. All your faces, all your avatars in 10 years is going to be in college textbooks of digital wearables. I'm not even kidding. I'm being serious. But with that said, last question. I usually go around the room and ask the question of all the builders, and I consider you all a builder, by the way, who come on my show. And the question is, why? Because we often focus a lot on the what are we building, but we rarely talk about why are we building what we're building. So I want to go around the room and I want to ask you, why are you building the next iteration of fashion, digital wearables, activations, experiences in these digital realities? So maybe Tang, if you want to go first, tell us your why.
If I had to think about why I'm here, I'd say it would be because, I just see the potential of the future. I feel like I'm more empowered myself. I'm more, this is such an awkward question, Mona. Yeah. I almost feel emotional about it, actually. Yeah. I really do feel like we're pioneers stepping into the future. And as strong leaders, we need to invite communities to come with us. Sometimes it's a bit scary and you don't know what's going to happen, but invest your time and invest your creativity, invest your skill, and come to the future with us.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Kirzoz, you want to go next?
Yeah, if I had to say why I'm building in these Web3 or virtual reality like spaces, I'd say because I can, and I kind of like it. I've always been looking for something that not only that I want to do it that you are good at. It's very important to find something that you find value from, you feel fulfilled, you have fun doing so, you make friends while doing it. Even it pays the bills, maybe it doesn't pay the bills, but it's about the passion, it's about wanting to do it and also being kind of good at it. It feels good to finally find a community of people that understand me or can joke around with these degenerate jokes that we have all the time. We're pulling up to the casino and using cryptocurrency and being Web3 based, or having NFTs, or just owning these digital assets, and maybe even the FIGITAL asset. I think there's so many levels to it all. Ultimately, I feel as if I keep doing it because it feels good, it feels right, and it's one of the few things that I've actually truly enjoyed doing as a career set, as a job. At the same time, it's more fun than I don't even consider it a job, really, because of how fun it is. It's more of a lifestyle. Yep. And I think I'm just going to keep building because it is a lifestyle.
Absolutely. I'm right there with you. Xeta, go ahead.
So I came here originally because I like the concept of owning space that couldn't be like censored by Zuckerberg or like Instagram, Facebook, or like I like having the freedom of expression, because I've done art and things for a number of years, most of my life actually, and I liked the concept of being able to come somewhere that I could do whatever I want or imagine. And then, that's why I own a 3-digit number of parcels in Decentraland, because I love building and putting things on them and representing whatever I want, or like giving any artists that I want a platform to showcase themselves. Or it's just fun having again a platform or space to be able to represent yourself and put art out there, where I came and did a photo gallery and made an art gallery of photos and sold them off the wall, and it was like way less daunting than making a physical art gallery and printing and framing and doing all of that stuff, and just having a relatively easy way to create whatever you want within a digital space and not have to worry about censorship or other things. And it just, I got hooked, and then, the community is great. It has a lot of people with similar mindsets that really support and believe in that ideology as well. And so it's been, some really good connections that I've met over the last few years, especially when we were all stuck inside for a while, and, hanging out with like-minded individuals was nice, honestly. Sense of community is really strong, and how people represent themselves is great.
There's nothing like Web3 community. Murph, thank you for that, by the way. Murph, go ahead.
I mean, kind of along Kirzoz's line, I was like, I liked it. First, like, I was very curious about this whole virtual space. Ready Player One really kind of inspired me to like look deeper into Decentraland, and then I kind of fell in the rabbit hole. And then once I got here, the communities really, it's what kind of kept me. And then finding skill sets in places I didn't even realize I had, and just making these relationships, or building these relationships, making new ones. And, I haven't really turned back since. It went from a hobby to, checking it out at night, to spending my weekends in here, to, leaving corporate America to do this all the time.
Guilty as charged, yes.
And every time I go, the longer I'm here, the more reasons I find to stay. So that's pretty much what I got for that.
I mean, and
answer this time around.
That's plenty of enough. And I want you guys to know that we appreciate you. You guys are all legends in this space. I want to thank you all for sharing your wealth of knowledge with me and the viewers tonight. It was incredible to learn about you and the advancements, really, you guys are bringing into the Web3 space. And by the way, speaking of advancements, the Decentraland Fashion Week, I just want to bring it up one more time, is right around the corner, March 28th through 31st. And all of these talented friends and people that your avatars that you're looking at here, they're going to be there, and they're contributing to one of the most anticipated metaverse events of the year. Guys, anything else that people need to know about the event that we need to say it?
I think that's it. Murph and I are doing a stream once a week that kind of talks about the community events. So tune into that. And yeah, I hope everybody's going to come down and participate in the show. And if you're new, don't worry about it. It's easy. Don't be scared.
That's right.
Everybody's helpful.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. And you can go right through your browser. You can go as a guest, or you can connect your wallet. As Tang said, it is absolutely easy. And you're just going to see all these awesome friends that we have in these cool outfits. Look at Tang. Oh my gosh, girl. I cannot get enough. She has a wardrobe after wardrobe after wardrobe. It's a never ending closet there. But anyways, I want to thank you all for participating in the show today again. It was so great to have you. And thank you everyone for joining us on the latest episode of Metaverse Express Full Stop. I'm your host, Mona. Until next time.